This conversation begins in the book of Genesis, chapter 19, verses 15 through 17, and also verse 26. Now, this is a very familiar story. It's a story about a character by the name of Lot. Yes, Mr. Lot, Abram's nephew. Now, the Bible don't talk a whole lot about Lot, but I wanted to share some things with you about Lot because this story is really a lot about you and I. It's about our sons and daughters and how we reflect the image of Lot in a lot of ways. Yes, when we look in the mirror, we should see Lot in that mirror sometimes because we have a knack of doing some of the things that Lot got himself into, doing some of the things that Lot family got themselves into as well. The Lord tells Abram to leave his country, to leave his father, to leave his mother, to leave his brothers and his sisters, to leave his cousins and his friends, his best friends. I mean, to leave everything behind. God says, I want to do a new thing with you. I want to do something so fresh with you. I want to call you the father of many nations. I want to bless you and bless your seed. But I got to remove you. I got to uproot you from where you are because every time you look at your father, every time you look at your mother, at your siblings, you will always see them as your image. You will always see them as a reflection of who you are. And God says, I want to change that. I want you to look in your mirror, if you will, your mirror of life. And I want you to see my reflection. I want you to see me inside of you. And I want everyone around you to see me inside of you. Abram, God says, I want to take you on a journey. Yeah, a journey of faith. And so Abram took him up. He took him up on his offer. But he took his nephew Lot with him. Now, God didn't ask him to bring Lot, but you know how it is. We're all fond of our nephews or our nieces or our cousins. There's always somebody that you're fond of. And so you bring them along with you. You bring them along on this journey. And so we're told that Abram and Lot had so much. I mean, they were blessed. They were blessed above measure. You know how we make that statement? I'm so blessed. Well, they were very, very so blessed, if you will. They had an abundance. And their herdsmen were getting into it, having a little beef, between each other because they just had so many people with them because they were just so blessed. And so Abram made the statement, we need to split up. I need to let you go left. We need to separate because this is just too much of a mess between the two of our herdsmen. And I don't need us to get into trouble with each other. So I'll go right and you go left, Lot. And so Lot went on this way. Watch this, watch this. The promise is not with Lot. The promise is with Abram. But how many of you know you can be so blessed? Wow. How many know you can have a promise that's so big that you can break a little of your own promise off and give a piece to someone else? Now, I'm telling you, that's a promise. That your promise is so big from God that you can break a little bit of your promise off and you can give it to someone else. Now, I don't know about you, but I want that kind of promise over my life. I want that kind of promise in my life to where I can break a little something off and give it to you and to you. And I still got an abundance of this covenant, of this promise that God has given me. Lot went into the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, just make this statement. That's a no-no. that's a no-no. Please don't go into the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. But we are like Lot, though. We have moved to places that we know was dangerous and evil and wicked. But that's all we could afford, we felt. Now, you probably could afford living in the country, but you didn't want to live out there because it's just so far away from the city. Well, hold up. Is it just about you or is it about your children? The safety of your children, the safety of your wife. See, sometimes you got to make some decisions that you don't want to make, but you need to make because it really improves the quality and the health of your family. Lot wasn't thinking like that. Lot wanted to party. I mean, come on, he had to. He went into the city itself. He didn't live on the outskirts. Come on. Lot's a very wealthy man. But he goes into the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. And here's where the story picks up. So there's two angels who come to Lot into the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. And they tell Lot, gather your family together. You're going to have to rise up out of here. You're going to have to pack your bags. You got to get up out of here. So Lot goes to the Bible tells us, to his married children. So he's got some children who's married. And here comes the tough part. Here comes the difficult part. They refuse to go. And so here comes some heartbreaking here because Lot has brought his family into this city. Now this city is inside of his family. You see, they're looking at this mirror. Yes, this mirror. And this mirror, they like what they see in this mirror. All of this evilness, all of this wickedness. I mean, you talking about women going to strip clubs. You heard what I said, women going to strip clubs. Yes, that's what's happening. We know men are going. But here the women are fond of strip clubs, and the women are fond of things that men normally entice themselves with. It's just one big old gumbo. I mean, everybody's jumping into the pot, the cesspool, if you will, of all this sin. And they're just loving it. They're just living the life. I mean, we call Las Vegas a sin city. No, 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 no. Sodom and Gomorrah has that tag all by itself. The city of sin and iniquity. That's what Lot was living in. Lot was living in this and breathing this, digesting this. And he has his family here. I'm telling you, that's your poor excuse for a husband if you bring your family into an area like that and you don't get them up out of there as soon as you can. Some of you are trapped because of just generational poverty. But watch this. There's no excuse to live there any longer. You can always move somewhere. I mean, somewhere is better than where you probably are. Lot didn't leave. As a matter of fact, Lot had a problem leaving. The angels told him, hey, you got to rise up out of here. Come on, Lot. This place is going to be destroyed pretty soon. And the Bible tells us that Lot kind of just wavered because his daughters weren't listening to him anymore. Listen to me. Let me tell you what's going to happen to us men. When our daughters get married, when they meet a guy, somebody who don't know them that well, someone they don't know that well. I mean, you put in like 17, 30 years, whatever it might be. And so you know your child and they know you, but they meet this dude, if you will. This dude, they're going to listen to his voice, watch this, more than your voice. They're going to look in the mirror and see his image more than your image because they're dating, because they're falling in love. And that's what love does. Love isn't some blinding. Love is your eyes are wide open. You're looking into the mirror, but you just like what you see. And I pray he treats her well. But that's going to hurt you as a father because you've always had this influence over your daughter, over your sons. But for the first time, she's sharing that, watch this, that mirror with someone else. And that's a sting. Lot is heartbroken because his daughters, his sons, they're not moving because their spouses want to stay. Be careful parking in an evil place. And be careful parking in a wicked place. Be careful living, yes, in a city that's full of sin, full of iniquity, full of devils, full of demons. That's what's happening here. And so Lot can't break them away. And so he's heartbroken. We begin in the book of Genesis, chapter 19, verse 15 through 17, and verse 26. 15 reads like this. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, arise, take thy wife and thy two daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. He says, we got to get a move on. Verse 16. And while he lingered, Lot is indecisive. Yeah, because his children are still here. And this city has a stronghold on him. Keep in mind, Lot has a mirror too. He's looking at his mirror and his image has faded in that mirror. So he sees less of himself. Now, that's okay if you see less of yourself, but you should be seeing a whole lot of God. Because see, we need to decrease so God can increase. But if your mirror is just full of you, watch this, full of you, and you don't see God in that mirror, well, guess what? Guess what? Satan's in the back of that mirror. You just can't see him, but he's in that reflection. You just can't see him, but you can feel him because you're living for him. That's what you're doing. 16. And while he lingered, the man laid hold upon his hand. Listen to this. And upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his two daughters. The Lord being merciful unto him, watch this, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. Lot has a stronghold on this city. He's holding on to it. And the city has a stronghold onto him. The angels have to basically teleport, beam me up, Scotty. They have to beam him outside of the city because it has a stronghold on him. You see, the devil can have a grip on you so tight that he refused to let you go. And watch this. And some of you are so crazy, you refuse to let him go as well. I'm serious. That's how bad it can get. Verse 17. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life. Watch this. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountains. Yeah, go to a high place, lest thou be consumed. Verse 26, but his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. Now, his wife always gets a bad rap. I mean, why would she look back? What's wrong with her? Well, hold up. No, why would you put him in a place? Yes. Why would you have your wife in a place that's full of sin like that? Why would you have your wife in a place that's gotten inside of her that's bigger than, watch this, it's bigger than her Lord and Savior? Why would you have her in a place that is bigger than you? So she's looking in her mirror, watch this. She don't see her husband. She don't even see herself anymore. All she see is the pleasure for this flesh. All she see is the fulfillment of this flesh, her desires, the things that she desired doing. I mean, that's what Sodom is. That's what it represents. It represents just simply, I told you, a gumbo bowl, just do what you want to do. Do it your way. Do what's right in your own eyes. That's what she was doing. That's what they all were doing. Lot's family was so embedded into Sodom and Gomorrah, they couldn't break away. I mean, that mirror, that culture that they were looking at, full of iniquity, it was so embedded inside of each one of them. It's hard to let something you love go. You heard me. It's hard to let something you love that much go. Let me tell you something. We all should want to see our spiritual father in our mirror. We should. We should all want to see a representation of our Father, yes, if he's a godly man, in that mirror. And we also want to see, yes, ourselves, yes, as Jesus Christ is inside of us, the Son inside of us, we should want to see ourselves, Jesus inside of us in that mirror. That's all three representations when you think about it. That's what we should want to see in that mirror, because the Holy Spirit has been left for us to carry, yes, for us to call upon, to be comforted by. And so all of that should be in that mirror. We should not be fading away in our own mirror of destiny. No, we shouldn't. And so when you get married, watch this. You should see your husband in that mirror. Yeah, because you should have married someone who's a reflection of your spiritual father in that mirror. You should marry someone who's a reflection of your biological father in that mirror. You should marry someone who's a reflection of your image in that mirror. See, you want to marry someone who loves God more than he loves himself. That's a son-in-law, father-in-law can be very proud of, because that's a godly son-in-law. And everything in that mirror, watch this, it allows your father, your biological father, to decrease so that your heavenly father can increase. That's what we're looking for in that mirror. Yeah, you're looking for God to increase in your life, and for your father, your biological father, to decrease. See, man, we have to move out the way, because let's be for real. We've done all we can. We've raised them, yes. We poured into them, yes. We've taught them. We prayed for them. We worshiped over them. We thank God for them. But now it's time for you to get out the way. It's time for you to tag in your son-in-law. It's time for you to tag in your daughter-in-law. It's time for us to decrease so that they can be at peace. Watch this. With the one, yes, that they're married to, with the one that's been chosen just for them. Stay with me for a moment, because this is going to be very important for all of those of you who are married, especially you who are married, and for those of you who are single as well. Man, it's time for us to look in that mirror with our families and to look and see, where do we fit in the mix? What position are we in our family? Because see, some of you men, you're coming home from work and you're getting your remote control to the TV and you're sitting on your sofa, and that's all you do. That's all you do. And then you jump up at the last minute and you go out and you hang out with your boys. So really, when you look at it, your wife and those children are single. I mean, it's like a single parent household. Yeah, you pay the bills. Yes, you provide for the family, but you have no contact. You have no connectivity. Yes, you're not involved. No, there's no relationship here. And so what you're doing is you're letting your wife, yeah, their mother, you're letting her mirror reflect more than your mirror. And so when they're looking at the image in the household, they're looking and they're seeing your wife's image. That's an embarrassment to you. We should be ashamed of ourselves. You know, they always say that, boy, he's a split image of his mother. Well, hold up. No. We don't want them to say that. That's so disrespectful to men. She should be a split image of her father, of his father. That's what should be happening. But if you've chosen to not be involved in your own family, and many of you are just like this. Yes, you're so stubborn, you're so rebellious. I'm telling you, that's tiptoeing into witchcraft. You just don't know it. But you're not even involved in your own family. Go tell your mama. Go ask your mama. And then you're upset at her when she makes a decision because you wouldn't make a decision. That's married people. I mean, that's what's happening in married homes. Now let me jump over to single folks. Wow. I'm just going to give you an example. Your son is now 19 years old, and your husband left when he was 10. And so you've called your husband, well, your baby daddy, because ex-husband now, you called the baby daddy, and you've asked him to come back and to be a part of your son's life, part of his son's life. After all these years, I mean, you've used that son for leverage. Come on, women, you know what you've done. You use that son as a pawn, as a booty call, if you will. You use them for extra money, for extra stuff, for extra things. I mean, you've used this son. As a matter of fact, you made sure that that son hates his father. But now he's 19. The father left at 10. Yeah, he was 10 when the father left. And so now you've called him back in and said, hey, I need you to come get him because he's raising too much hell over here. I mean, this boy, he's a grown man. I can't handle him. I mean, he's timid. He's sensitive. I mean, he's too emotional. I mean, he's selfish. He has an attitude. I mean, I need you to put your Superman cape on and come rescue your son. And so the father comes back over. Watch this. Hold up. I'm sorry. The baby daddy comes over, and he takes on this mission to raise his son at the age of 19. Listen to me carefully, man. Listen to me. You come back into that son's life, and you start talking to that son. You bring him home with you. You start talking to him, and you start teaching him how to be the man, how to fix a necktie, you know, how to wear his clothes. And you don't realize at this point of his life, he mirrors his mother. You heard what I said? He mirrors his mother. I mean, he has clothes like his mother. I mean, designer clothes, everything, from the belt buckle to the wallet to his shoelaces. I mean, this boy got it going on. He knows how to dress. He has a wardrobe full of designer clothes. Everything in his wardrobe is designer this and designer that. His underwear are designer clothes. That's what's happened here. Yeah, he mirrors his mother. I mean, she goes to the spa, he goes to the spa. Manny, petty, he gets it all. I mean, this boy, I mean, come on. He's his mother's son. That's what you happen. And so when he looks in the mirror, guess what he sees? He sees his mother. Yes, he sees his mother. He doesn't see you. Come on. You left him at the age of 10. And some of you left him way before then, but that's where this story's going. You left him at the age of 10. And so he doesn't, all he sees is absenteeism when he sees you. As a matter of fact, you're nowhere in his mirror because you faded out of the picture. All he has is his mother to hold on to. That's all he has. That's all he's ever had for a long time. And so you come back into the picture. This absentee father is what he's looking at. You said, well, Donnie, I paid my child support. I know, but the representation that he has in front of him is absenteeism. And your ex-wife, I mean, your baby, your baby mama has fed him a whole lot of stuff about you and people around him about you as well. And so he hates you. He don't like you. Come on. I mean, who would? All this stuff. See, the mother, let me tell you something. She's taught him the best she can. Yeah, she's taught him how to become a man, and she's a woman. Now, that's going to be tough. So she's taught him out of her, what I call her overflow, and she's evolved as a woman. And she's tried to let him catch the fumes of what it means to be a man. But all his mannerisms are like her mannerism. His character, yeah, his personality, his temperament is like hers. Now, she didn't do this intentionally. It's unintentionally. But what she's done is she's kidnapped his manhood. You heard what I said. And she's locked it up. Because she has no experience, watch this, in being a man. So she somewhat brainwashed him, if you will, unintentionally. But she's tried to raise him the best she can. With the toolbox that she has, watch this, her toolbox has so many limitations to it because she's not a man. That's the position you put your son into. That's the position you put your daughters into. When you're not in their life, when you're not in the household, when you're in the household and you're being a knucklehead, you're not spending time, you're not communicating, you're not involved, yes, you've allowed this woman to raise your son. And so all he sees to raise your daughters, all they see is a reflection, an image of their mother inside of them. That's all they see. You already see all these commercials are geared towards deadbeat fathers, absenteeism fathers. Fathers are a joke. It's all into femininity for women and femininity for men as well. I mean, you see it. Everything is moving and pushing towards your son being more like his mom. And you left him there. I mean, come on. This is a baby. This is your son. And you left your seed there to be raised up into this type of environment. Now, get me wrong. I'm serious. I'm giving her a props. She done the best she could with what she had. You remember the story in the Bible about the prophet Eli and Samuel? The Lord called Samuel, and Samuel hears a voice, and he runs over to Eli. And Eli said, I didn't call you. And so he says, go lay back down. So Samuel goes and lays back down. And he hears his voice again. And so he runs to Eli. And Eli said, Samuel, I didn't call you. So he goes and lays back down again. Now, Eli realizes that, wow, okay, hold up. After the third time, he said, I realized that that's God calling you. He's no longer calling me. This is the prophet Eli. He's now calling you. See, your son, Jesus, your son has been listening to his mother's voice for so long. And he's been running to see your voice. And he always runs to her because he thinks that he's going to hear your voice somewhere in the midst of that voice. But he never hears it. It's like Samuel keeps running back to Eli because he doesn't know. Watch this. Because Eli's voice sounds so much like God's voice as Samuel, he's got them confused. He thinks they're one. That's how closely Eli was living to God. Man, that's how closely you should be living to your son, to your daughters. That when they hear a voice, they know it's your voice. Yes. They know your image. They know your reflection. And when they hear that voice, yeah, they come running because that's my daddy's voice. Your son can't hear your voice because your mama's voice is so loud, it's so powerful, it's so big in his head because that's where he's been. And so in his mirror, that's what he sees. Yes. He's looking for a wife. Watch this. And in his mirror of looking for a wife, watch, this is what he sees. He sees his mother. He don't see you. He don't see himself looking for a wife as a man. He see himself looking for a wife as a woman. You heard what I said. How disappointing. How scary is that? That's all he knows. Watch this one. Your daughter, when she goes out and looking for a husband looking for her. Do you realize what she's looking at? She's looking at the mirror that she's always seen. She see her mama, so she's looking for a mom inside of a man. Now, these are beautiful kids. But what you've done to them, you messed them up. So all she's seen is the mirror of a mother in her household. So she's looking at her husband and she sees her mother. And she likes what she sees because she's looking for a mother inside of him. You don't want your daughters looking for your wife inside of a man. That's trouble. That's failure, yes. That's a recipe for destruction. But that's what we've done to our sons and daughters. We have them out looking for something unnatural, if you will. So back to the story. So your son is 19. Jesus. Remember what I just said. And here you are back into his life, and you realize now that you might want to take him back to his mother because this is the bucket load of trouble. I mean, this is going to be a task. But you're the man for the job. He's before you. Let me teach you how to raise that son. You can't fight with him at the age of 19 because that's what's going to happen. He's going to fight you. I told you he hates you. You disappointed him. You can't find him at 19. You know why? Because you left him at 10. So what you have to do is you have to talk to the 10-year-old inside of him. You heard what I said. You have to pray at night about that 10-year-old that you abandoned, that you left many years ago. You got to connect with that 10-year-old before you can get to that 19-year-old. You heard what I said. I said it loud and clear. Yes, your wife, she set you up for some failure, but she didn't know you'd have to come back in, see. Now you're coming back in. And now she's trying to undo some things. Well, your father, he wasn't all that bad, She's trying to talk to him because at 19, hey, hold up, he's a mess. You got yourself a mess on your hands, but it's your mess though. And it's your mess to clean up. So you got to speak to the 10-year-old in him. Yeah, that little 10-year-old who plays Xbox and all that PlayStation, and that 10-year-old who never went fishing, who never went hiking, who never went camping. That's who you got to speak to. That's going to take a lot of prayer, a lot of faith, a lot of belief. That's what that's going to take. But you can do it. You're going to have to do it. In order for him to see you the way he needs to see you, you're going to have to do it. That's what you're going to have to do. No insult's going to help you. Don't be calling them names. No. I mean, man, he's just like his mama. That's not going to help you. No, he needs to be just like you. That's what he needs to hear. You're just like me. I messed up. I'm sorry. Forgive me. But my image needs to be inside of you. Yes. My reflection needs to be inside of you. I need you to pick up your mirror. I need you to see me inside that mirror. Yes. I'm not that man in the mirror. No. I'm your father in that mirror. That's who I am. I need your heavenly Father to be present in that mirror. I need my image to be present in that mirror. And son, I need you to be present in that mirror. I don't need you fading away, looking at your mama. Yes, that's not your recipe. That's not the right formula. It's right here in me. I need to show up and show out. You see, that's how you get to that 19-year-old son, is you connect with that 10-year-old son that's inside of him. See, that's a blessing. That's what we have to do. I can't come back on my big old daddy britches on him. I'm going to be the daddy. I'm going to be the man. No. No, you gave it up a long time ago. Come back in humble with some humility. Yes. With some compassion. With some love. Yes. Come back in a godly man. Make sure God's inside of you. God's going to take all of that and then some. You see, Lot had allowed God inside of him to fade away. I mean, Lot gets out there in that desert on top of that mountain. Watch this. His daughters date rape him. Because they said, Daddy don't have a seat. See, you see, they still caught in Sodom and Gomorrah. Who date rapes their own father? Well, they did. Because they have all this hell inside of them. But you have to blame Lot. He took them into that city. He birthed them in that city. And that city birthed itself inside of them. You've allowed your wife to birth herself, her image inside of your sons, inside of your daughters. And so don't be mad at her. Don't be mad at them. Be mad at you. Now you've got to birth yourself inside of them. Yes, you've got to be a bigger presence inside of their life. That's what Jesus wants to be in your life. Yes, Jesus wants to break off a promise to you too. Yeah, he's got a big enough promise to break something off for you. Jesus wants to be the biggest thing in your life, in your son's life. And so in order for your son to see Christ inside of you, wow, you got to give your life to Jesus Christ. You've got to sell out to Christ like you sold out to all that other stuff before now, so that your son can sell out to, watch this, to you, because he needs to see Christ in you so that he can see Christ inside of himself. Because you're the first person when he looks at, if he's going to see God, he'll see it in you. Because God is invisible. We don't see God, but we see God inside of each other. Show him God inside of you. Be the bigger man. Your son's salvation is worth it. Your daughter's salvation is worth it. Let them see you. Let your daughter go out and look for a man inside of a man. Look for you inside of her husband, not looking for a mother inside of her husband. Come on, do the right thing. Yeah, be the man for the job. Stand up and show out. Don't forget Romans 10:9. Confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, and you too shall be saved.